Yo guys, Choxy here. As I promised, I will be doing a review over the necro changes during the ready up or the skill bar segment. So just to get into it, here we go. Alright, so first up, as you can see, this is straight from Dolphin, by the way. It's going to be Last Gasp in the Soul Reaping line, is now categorized as a spectral skill and affected by spectral traits. Additionally, recharge reduced from 60 seconds to 50 seconds. So what does this mean? One, we get our pretty much our free breaks done at 50% every 50 seconds instead of 60. And all in all, though, this is still a very strong trait because it actually does break stun, and it gives you protection. And on top of that, you get 8% life force per hit. So that's also great. The biggest thing, though, is that's going to be affected by spectral mastery. So it's going to be 20 seconds. 20% off of that. So it's going to become 40 seconds internal cooldown. And it's also going to be affected by spectral attunement, which actually gives you more life force on use, or it gives you initial life force on use, and it increases the duration of the protection and the buff. So you'll get, what is it, 9 seconds? 9 seconds of spectral armor. Alright, so that is that. Alright guys, next up is going to be Unholy Sanctuary. This is a trait I personally don't use because I don't want to go that deep into the death magic tree. I only really use it for the staff masteries. But anyways, Unholy Sanctuary, regenerate health while you're in Death Shroud. So basically, while you're in Death Shroud, you regenerate your actual HP. But with this patch, you're actually going to get a nice bonus to it. So to read it, in addition to healing, this trait will now activate Death Shroud if you have enough life force when you take a lethal blow, i.e. an attack that will kill you. This trait has a 30-second internal cooldown, and even if your Death Shroud is on cooldown, it will circumvent that cooldown. So what does this mean? Basically, before you die, if you have maybe, let's say, 100 HP, and then you get eviscerated for 10k, you will actually enter Death Shroud, and let's say you have about 60% of your life force pool, but you're on cooldown. So you use Death Shroud, you popped out 100 HP, get hit for that, that 10k. Your Death Shroud will actually pop anyways, even if it is on cooldown, and it'll, bleed over the damage that you took, and you will still be alive. So I think it's a pretty cool addition, because the healing in Death Shroud is very, very, I don't know how to say it. It's just very minimal. It's like, oh, I'll get HP while I'm in Death Shroud. It's not that great, but this is going to be a little better because you really want to stay in Death Shroud, and especially when it's on cooldown. People need to really plan when to, kill you, because if anything, that's gonna be. Alright, now we're into skills. So Death Shroud, damn Guardian. So Death Shroud can now interact with things while in Death Shroud form. You can now res allies or finish down enemies. What does this mean? So what this means is that as of currently, you can res and stomp people with Death Shroud already. Here, as an example, I'll go into detail about this, but let me just get this over with. Alright, so if you hit your Death Shroud and interact at the same time, you can initiate a Shroud Stomp. So that's what you would do. Usually you'll be rerunning Foot in the Grave or something, so you get this ability for the Stomp. But now you don't need to do the timing, because that is actually technically, people call it an exploit. I call it a bug. It's not as high as an exploit, but tapping your Death Shroud and your interact at the same time does kind of abuse the server lag, and you are doing two things at the same time technically. But now with the change, you can actually do it whenever you want in Death Shroud. So if you're in Death Shroud, you see someone down, you just walk over to them, stomp them. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. You don't have to do the trick with the two buttons. You can stomp, you can res, you can interact while in Death Shroud, which is really nice. So a lot of necros might be using that to their advantage in team fights and whatnot, to soak up damage while they're rezzing or stomping. So that helps with that. Alright, next. Alright guys, next up is Corrupt Boon. Basically, it says cast time increased by a quarter second, bringing the skill to a 0.5 second cast time. This change also reduces the after cast of Corrupt Boon by 0.25 seconds, so quarter second. So what does this mean? Basically, Corrupt Boon is no longer technically insta-cast, because a quarter second is really fast. So what happens now is it kind of gives more counterplay to it. So if people dodge, if people can time it, to have a longer windows to dodge a corrupt boon, because corrupt boon is very strong. It definitely is, especially on someone who decides, you know, like stability, like guardian. So that stability, vigor, aegis, these things hurt on a guardian, so that kind of gives more counterplay to it. This change also reduces the aftercast delay of corrupted boom or corrupt boom by 25 seconds. So aftercast basically means after you cast a spell, there is a duration where you can't do anything. And with corrupt boon, you couldn't do anything for quite a bit. The only thing you could probably do is, you know, enter Death Shroud and do Doom, since that's insta cast. But now it reduces it, so it's easier to take some action after you cast corrupt boon. Overall, this change is okay. Like I said, just gives more counterplay and lets us do more actions right after the cast a little sooner. Right, next. Next is Signet of Vampirism. Basically, it's got its active from increased from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. Whoop. Next. Next on this was Spectral Armor. We already went over this. Just the recharge went from 60 seconds to 50 seconds. So it might be a little better to use out there, because Spectral Armor is definitely strong, especially when you're going against bursty classes like these or Circuit Warriors. It really does help. And the life force generation is just crazy. Basically, if you get hit for every second, within every second for the next 6 seconds, you get half your life force back, so it's very strong still. So that's that. Alright guys, now we got some axe masteries. Basically there's just two of them. One is affecting the auto attack, Rending Claws. So what does this do? It just reduces the aftercast of the ability by a quarter second. Basically what that means is that you can just shank things faster, that's all. Like, I'm not gonna attack the guardian because I don't have a build for this, but as you can see, the cast time is like 1, 2, 3. You'll just be able to initiate your auto attacks a little faster. As for the ghastly claws, that's the, you know, the wannabe ranged 100 blade looking thing. So it just has increased damage. That's it. Simple stuff. Maybe axe users will probably use it for power builds and whatnot. But I don't use axe, so that's what that's about. Alright, now we got some dagger changes for you guys. They did hint at it before, so now we can hit 2 targets instead of just 1 target. And the positive effects basically only proc once. So things like the second hit, you only get 2% life force, not 4%. And the third hit, you don't get 12% of life force, you just get 6%. What do I think about it? I think it's pretty cool. We might be able to be a little more useful in dungeons if you just want to stack and zerker things down, since we have cleave now. The life force generation though is still there, so you know, if you play power necro, build some life force for the power blast, and that's about it. It's something that actually affects my build. Locust Swarm now is, instead of just 10 seconds of swiftness, you get 15. I have not much to say about this. We just get more swiftness. Now I can run around and roam faster. Woo! If they increase the actual locusts, then it might be a little more useful. But as of right now, they just hinted that only the swiftness got increased, not the locust swarm. So, you know, we can't have that yummy life force generation or cripples. But, it's still better than none. Alright, now probably the only one that people have been complaining about or cheering about is Lich form. Now, everyone knows Lich form is a really strong skill. It is definitely up there, and it does a lot of damage. Personally, I don't use Lich form. I have probably never used Lich form. I probably used it once when I was just trolling in War vs. the World on my Zerker build, and I just like 2-shot Guardian. It was so much fun, but I do not use Lich form. But anyways, to go over it, transformation reduced from 30 seconds to 20 seconds, so you only get a 20-second duration now, not a whole half a minute of, you know, train wrecking. Reduce its power scale to the player's normal power scale. So what this means is that it'll only be affected, the damage will only be affected by your power. You don't get that huge boost of, what is it, like 2,000 power instantly. That's because it got the tornado treatment. As if you guys didn't know already, the Ellie, the tornado got nerfed so that lingering fields don't get affected by it. So with Lich form, what people would do is they would drop like Well of Suffering, their damaging wells, go in Lich form, those wells get that huge power boost from it. But now it doesn't do that anymore. It still sticks with your power, it'll still stay the same. So to compensate for it, what they did is they basically made here, I'll show you right now. They made these skills have a better scaling with your power. So they increased the base damage, so it ties in with your original power, not the, you know, oh my god, I got 2,000 power out of nowhere. So things like, and as I mentioned, sigil of fire and air don't get increased by it. So only these skills are affected by a power boost. Everything else is going to be by your base power. So what do I think about it? Honestly, it does help. Sometimes you could go run this as a Kandi Necro and still wreck face, but it still will do a lot of damage considering what they did to the base skills. But now you won't do super mega damage with fire and air sigils and wells. So that's basically what they nerfed about it, right? So overall, what do I think about the changes? I was a little underwhelmed so far. Everything is just a little bit of more giving more quality of life to the Necro. The whole Death Shroud thing is nice. People don't need to do the whole interact and Death Shroud at the same time anymore. Overall, like power got a little bit of a boost from the dagger buffs and axe buffs. Spectral armor, I think that's the only thing that applied to what they said. They said they wanted to add survivability to our utilities. That is probably the only thing I can see alongside the Unholy Sanctuary buff. But like I said, nothing was mind-blowing. I was actually kind of underwhelmed with this little patch. But don't forget, actually on top of that, I was actually more excited for the Guardians. I was like, oh my god, Guardians so hyped, they got a teleport, spirit weapons OP. And then I was like, okay, what does Necro get? That's all we get? Really? Oh, whatever, man. So, Necro kind of underwhelming, but you guys do have to realize this might not be everything. If you look at last year's patch around June 25th, I actually looked into this. I actually did a really long post about it. You can see on my Twitch channel. What happened was they only previewed a little bit of stuff, and then you actually look at the actual patch notes. There are a lot of things that weren't mentioned that actually changed the Necro a lot. So there might be more changes incoming on the actual patch coming in September. But other than that, we just have to wait and see. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys learned a little bit. I will be doing a personal build video because I promised I had to do it. I'll probably be uploading it tomorrow on Saturday. So if you guys look out for that, and that's pretty much it for me. I am going to get out because I have to go to work. Thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a good day.